Hello everybody, my name is Beth and welcome back to my channel. As the title says, I'm here to do a wrap up for the month of September. This is the 30th and the book I'm reading right now is The September House. I'm on page 40, but I do not think I'm going to finish it today. It's probably going to be tomorrow. I will update down below later tonight if I get it read. Or the first book I finished in September was Just Another Missing Person by Gillian McAllister. This was the first book I'd ever read by her. I guess this was her. Yeah. I gave it 5 stars. This is about a police officer. She's a detective, and she is searching for a missing girl, and she's run out of leads, and she's told that this certain person has to be charged and convicted of the crime, or that they will go public with some information about her and her family that she does not want released to the public. And so thus is where her dilemma is. So she has to figure out how she's going to do this. Is she going to work on finding this girl, this missing girl, or arrest this person that she doesn't think has anything to do with the girl's disappearance? So it was a really good read. There was some language. I don't remember any like scenes in it, but there was some language. So yes, good. It was a good read. So of September, I have to go back a few pages in a new book. And I got this recommendation from Carla. It's a YouTuber, a booktuber that I watch, and she read this during the summer. And I had started it during the summer, at the very end of summer, and I did give it 5 stars. This is Park Avenue Summer by Renee Rosen, and this is about Alice. Alice wants to be a photographer, but she ends up becoming a receptionist, secretary for Helen Gurley Brown, who has taken over as editor at the Cosmopolitan magazine. But and she is very devoted to Helen and is very protective. And when some rumors start and people are trying to get dirt on Helen, she refuses to give in, and she has to find her herself and decide if she's going to spread her wings and do what she needs to do. So it's a very good read. I really liked it. There are some scenes in this one, and there's definitely some language, but it was a really good read. The next one I finished on September the 11th, and I gave it 5 stars as well. I did really good this month. It was Abby Jimenez, Yours Truly. I absolutely loved Jacob, and that's everybody's consensus. They just adore Jacob, and I think that was the whole point when Miss Jimenez wrote this book. She wanted everybody to love him. He is just the most wonderful character that you could ever meet within a book, and he's just amazing. And she writes wonderfully about anxiety issues, and it's talked about very well, and it's handled beautifully. And the way that the two characters help each other. Brianna and Jacob, the way they help each other and the way they're there for each other is just beautiful. But he has broken up with his girlfriend, and she is fixing to marry his brother, and his family does not want to accept this wedding. But if he says it's okay and that he has moved on, then they will go along with it. And he tells them yes, he's seeing somebody. And then his sister catches the two of them in a closet talking, having lunch, and she thinks that they're together. So he asks her to help him out. So that's the start of their fake dating thing. And it is beautiful. Just a beautiful book. So 5 stars. This is a this is not a Christian author, and so read at your own risk. The next one I finished was my buddy read with my friend Chris, and it was The Covenant of Water. I finally got the audiobook for this and was able to move through it a little bit quicker. I did have a day off and was at the hospital, and I read, physically, I was reading through some pages pretty quickly. I gave this 4 stars. I really loved, what do they call her? Bigamachi. And when she's 12, her father has passed away, and her uncle marries her off to a man, I think he's in his 40s. And this man, where they're at is not unheard of in the 1900s. And, but he's very decent. Okay. And most people would not have been as kind as he was to her. And so I just really enjoyed the story and the growth that Bigamachi had throughout the story. And there were some things I didn't like, and the fact that it was so much sadness. And as Chris, my friend, pointed out, there was some happy times, but it was so focused on the sadness, I guess, that I felt depressed most of the time I was reading it. So, but it was still a wonderful read. There was so much within it, and the writing was beautiful. The medical part of it was amazing. My husband is feeding the boys, and so Rufus is barking because he wants a little bit of hard food in his food. So he's telling him, please. So this was on Oprah's book club, and Chris told me that there are some podcasts, and then and that she watched them, but I have no interest in watching podcasts. I can't get into podcasts. I don't know why. To me. Okay, the next one that I read, I'll put it up here, was for the Upside Down Readathon, and it was my host buddy read. I read Whispering Pines, and this was for Hopper. It was Liv's pick for Hopper, and this was about a girl whose father was missing, and they moved to another town, and she is searching for him. And I gave this 5 stars. I listened to it, and it was a great book. It is a young adult, and it is a series, and I plan to go on with the series, just not right away, but it is so like the Stranger Things setup, and I really enjoyed this book, and it was quite scary for a middle grade I think I might have said young adult. I didn't mean young adult. I meant middle grade book. Okay. So the next one that I read was for my Vecna prompt, which was supposed to originally be the September house, because that was Kendall's buddy read as well. But I'm reading that now. But it was The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. I gave this 4 stars. I did enjoy it, but I felt like a lot of it was more focused on her relationship with her boyfriend, husband. Yeah. And so this was, this one was I didn't see this coming, the twist at the end. And, was a little upset about how things turned out. But, I mean, they turned out how they should have turned out for the characters that were involved. And, I did give it 4 stars. It was a good read, and it was a quick read. So, I mean, I was reading it physically, and, you know, it was just a couple days and I had it done. And probably would have had it finished faster than that, except I was working as well. And so that brings me to, I guess I could tell you a little bit more about it. This is about a woman and her husband who buy this house, and it's said to be haunted. Actually, they call it the murder house, because a man killed his wife and then killed himself. And nobody has purchased it, they're told, since. And they find out after they move in that that's not the case. But it's said to be haunted, and the town wants to bulldoze it. And they're keeping secrets from her. Nobody likes her in the town. And she is working as a grief counselor? No. Psychiatrist? A therapist. And and her husband is a bartender, I think. Anyway, she is trying to renovate the house, but things keep happening, and it seems like the house doesn't want to be renovated. So, yeah. So that's what it's about. Alright, the next one I finished in a day. Vampires of El Norte by Isabel Cañas. This book was so good. So good. Yes, there are vampires involved, but they are not like regular vampires are said to be. This is set during the one of the wars. It's when the United States invaded Mexico in 1846, and the vampires are there, but it's a different kind, okay? And you just have to read it in order to understand why I'm saying that. And it's just different, and I loved her twist on it. But Nina and Nestor are friends from the moment Nestor comes to the what do they call that? To her home. They call it some kind of anyway, ever since he's come to stay there with his uncle, they have been like very close, and they kind of grew up together. But when they're 13, something happens, and Nestor is blamed, and so he leaves, and they're both heartbroken, or he's heartbroken. And then when the United States invades, he comes back. And he's very shocked at what he finds. So, and then the last one I just finished last night was The Wishing Game. And I gave this 5 stars. This was so beautiful. This is about Lucy and Christopher. She wants to adopt Christopher, but she's a teacher's aide. And she doesn't make enough money. And she doesn't have her own house or a car. And this is by Meg Schaefer. And so she really can't adopt him because she doesn't have the means to adopt him. And so when she was 13, she ran away from home because she didn't feel like she was loved. And she went to someplace and met this writer. And so she receives an invitation back to this island and to play this game. And I was crying last night. It was so heartbreaking, and then it was so good. And I absolutely love this book, and I wished I'd read it sooner. It's one of those books you can read and you can turn around and reread again, and it doesn't get old. But it was so good, and I love Hugo. Hugo is my favorite character in this book. He's the illustrator, and he's just wonderful. But that is it. Those were my reads for September. And I hope you enjoyed that little wrap up. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you want to see more from me, click that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.